book, dude.
I've had so many people tell me that same, like, a similar story. It's like 80% of the people that like talk about Pokemon to me, they're like, "Oh, dude, I had cards when I was a kid, and like either their mom threw it away, or they traded it, or they like threw it, or they lost it."
This
And
is a
it's crazy.
common story, dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
because
had a similar story. I gave mine away to my cousins. My dad passed away, and I gave mine away when I was 16 because like I didn't give a shit. I was like, they were bothering me. They were like, "Can we have them?" And I was just like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And then like 4 years later, I was asking about them because I was like, "Damn, like can't believe I gave my cards away." And then they lost them, and I was like, "What the fuck? How do you lose that?" And then so like for the last 10 years, I've been collecting. That's why I'm like so into Pokemon because it's like getting back some of my childhood. So and then it's just like fun. It's just fun. So yeah.
yeah, well, I hadn't even thought about it until I got back into like collectibles through here, like this space, and I started seeing that people still collect that stuff, and there's still value to them. So I started calling all of my mom's friends that she had stored stuff in their garages. Like I was like trying to my sister, I was trying to like when I went off to college, she took some of my boxes, trying to track this shit down, dude, to no avail. But yeah, it's a similar story, man. I think people think people lose this shit. We didn't. I told my mom that it would have value, or I knew it would. I thought it would have value, but I didn't fucking know shit. I just wanted them to buy me cards. But what's up, Dre Millie?
Yo, I never had a single Pokemon card. Like, I never bought any of those ever. But I did have, like, all of the X-Men cards. I don't even know if people even remember those things. But they had, like, a Marvel set for X-Men cards and Spider-Man cards. And I had the full set. Because I remember, like, a couple of birthdays, I had my people buy, like, boxes and boxes and boxes of it.
Was
So it was the same type of shit.
What year's your birthday, Dre? Is it? I think it's
7/27/82.
okay. So I'm 91. So do you think that you
Yes.
were interested in collecting a
Yes.
different type of shit by the time Pokemon
Yes.
came out? By the time Pokemon came out, you were probably like, nah, I ain't touching none of that.
I
It was
ain't
like
fucking
it's
with
for
none of
kids or
that.
some shit,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
I'm chasing it. Wait a minute, man. I'm chasing it. Where the gals at? Like, I wasn't messing with
yeah.
none of that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Is by the time Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh came out, you're collecting different shit. You're collecting phone numbers and shit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But nah, my little brother was Pokemon out. Like, yeah, all of the Pokemon. Like, it was transitional times for me because I worked at Toys R Us, and that's the time when like Pokemon Red and Blue came out on Game Boy. And remember that Pikachu Tamagotchi that they had, and all of that type of stuff. I was stealing all of that stuff from the job because I was a little kleptomaniac and I enjoyed tech and video games at the same time. So I'm like, yeah, let me just get all of this.
Yo, you still had that? Oh my god.
Man, you know what? Since I stole it, I probably just gave it away. Like, yo, you can have the stuff if you want it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even really interested in it. I played Pokemon like Red for maybe like a month or two. And then we had to connect the cables with the homie, the battle and all that stuff. And it became more of like a headache for me than anything else. So like, it's all good. But yeah, that's about as far as my Pokemon journey went. But my little brother had it all. GameCube, Pokemon. I remember it was like what system that was where they had like 3D, when 3D Pokemon first came out on whatever gaming console that was, he had
Oh yeah,
all of this.
N64.
Yeah, he had all of that stuff. And he
They
probably
had
still
Pokemon
does.
Stadium and Pokemon Snap.
Yep, Pokemon Snap. That's the one. Yep, he had
Oh,
all
there's
of that
actually
stuff.
there's so there's a Pokemon there's a Pikachu card that's basically it's a portrait of Pikachu, but it's from Pokemon Snap. And so that one's kind of rare. It comes in like a magazine. But then there's also like 5 other Pokemon Snap cards. And there's like one, for example, there's like a Charmander one, but there's literally only like 10 of them made, and they go for like 40K. It's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. See, yeah, no, man, it was just past my time of collecting. I was still playing video games heavy around that time. It's just Pokemon to me was like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I had hella the X-Men car. I had all of them. I had all of the X-Men toys. I had all of the, and it's wild to see now, like Ronnie Fike coming out with this X-Men A6 shoe drop, this collaboration that's just coming out this weekend for real. They releasing early orders at the San Diego Comic Convention right now. But he's releasing shoes that come with an X-Men trading card, and it's like the shoes that you get. You don't know what you're pulling because the box is sealed, and it has a bag inside of the box that's sealed. And every shoe comes along with different character cards, and every shoe is a different color combination due to the character that you get. So it adds that extra layer of collecting or collectibles to the shoe aspect of it all. And I'm super into that. I think that's super fire because it just, gives you a different feeling with purchasing the shoes. And they get like every one of 36 certain colorway of Wolverine shoes, or like the hologram Wolverine shoes. So it's like every one of 36 Wolverine cards was a hologram Wolverine. So dope shit like that. It gets the giblets going, but I never really fully got into the Pokemon
Can
craze
you,
out there.
well, either DM me a link to that information or like pin it, because that sounds so. I want to look at that.
Oh yeah, it's super fire, man. It's
But
got
that reminds me, like, the reason why I got into NFTs is because of like the similarity between opening packs and also like minting something and then watching it reveal. Like the first NFT I ever minted was called Dizzy Dragons, and it was it was not NFT. It was a pixel art project, and like the artist is really good. I fucking loved it, and like it was just hella cool because like I was like, oh, this is sick. Like you buy one, and then there's gonna be a reveal date. This is dope. And then at one point, and it was the first time I ever had seen a project do it, is they did a fusion where you could fuse two dragons together, and you could choose to either keep traits or get new ones, and there were also new traits that were added into the collection. It was a really cool experience. But then one of the founders rugged, and like, yeah, but anyway.
It's the name of the game, man. The name of the game. But no, this is the same situation, right? Like when you add these collectible components to IRL situation or experience, that's what carries the longevity of what you're doing, right? Like that's what builds the culture, because it's gonna be people out here who are trying to buy every box of shoes that they can get, just trying to get that hologram pair of Wolverine Asics. And that same tenacity that people have when it comes to collecting Pokemon or whatever it is that they collect, that's what drives us to go, and that's the fuel behind all of the things that we're dealing with, or a lot of the things that we're dealing with in this project or this sector. Man, it's that same type of excitement, that same dopamine. Oh, what did I get? Oh, did I? Oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So I love every form and facet of it. Like before, when I was a kid, I was like, yo, I'm too cool for that shit. I ain't messing with that over there. But now, as an adult, I'm like, yo, I appreciate every aspect of this, because just because I'm not into it, somebody else may love it, but it's still the thrill of the chase that everybody that's be having all common to it.
I'm pretty sure I've heard Shauna and Coomer call us nerds, bro. And I'm all right with it now. I'm all right with it. I actually want to hear everybody's take, or where did everybody start collecting at? Like that's kind of like I started with Pokemon cards and moving like from there. What about you, Sophie? Where'd you start your collection addiction or
I
craze?
have had so many collections in my lifetime that like we would be here for the rest of the night if I go through everything I've collected. Like actually down to like snow globes to pins from Disney to like nail polish to obviously sneakers. Don't even want to go down the streetwear and like hypey stuff because that gets scary with the amount of stuff I've accumulated there. But Pokemon cards, I used to steal Pokemon cards from kids like cubbies in I think it was like first or second grade. Like I couldn't get my own pack of Pokemon cards, and all I wanted to do was like collect them like everyone else. And so I would like slowly I would take like one at a time, like one a week. And then I had like this little collection, and I started trading them, and I was so hyped, and like I worked my way up, but like it was not off the best foundation there. But take full responsibility now, this many years later.
I'm pretty sure I shared the same story here before, but I got arrested. I'm pretty sure it was in here. It was in Bad Take. I got arrested for stealing Pokemon cards.
Yeah, you gave it. Yep, we remember that for sure.
I don't remember that shit. I don't remember that.
We all have those criminal pasts.
Oh yeah, we were talking about criminal stuff. Oh, I forgot about that. Hell yeah, it was so fucking funny.
It was for stealing Pokemon cards too?
Yeah. I was like
18. He was extra grown.
I was 18.
Yep, extra grown.
And then it was like it was at just some random shop, like a store, and it was like probably like 4 or 5 packs. I don't even remember. But like I just was like walking out the door and they're like, "Nope, come here." And then like cops showed up, they put me in cuffs, and I was like, "What the fuck?" So yeah, it was that's what happened.
Meanwhile, I was like elementary school. I was in elementary school doing like the same criminal stuff.
Yeah, I did some dumb shit at 18, bro.
How's homie gonna steal some shit and then get salty when they catch him for stealing shit?
Yo, what the fuck? Are you gonna put me in cuffs, bro? That's some cards. It's just some cardboard, bro. Are you serious right now? Oh,
That's
man.
hilarious.
And Ben, my dude, what about you, man? What'd you start collecting? I want to know, like, the roots, like, what everybody started with that got them into collecting.
And what did you steal?
Yo, what up?
What up, bro?
Oh man. The stealing stories here.
Collecting stories. Yeah, you clones were in a space the other day and they're all talking about robbing shit. Like, man, them clones are crazy.
Bunch of criminals.
Bunch of criminals stealing Pokemon cards in elementary school.
Oh shit. Man. What did I start collecting? Yeah, I've got a history of addiction here. I think it was honestly, I think it was baseball cards. I started with baseball cards and gravitated towards basketball. Actually, it's funny because I've been cleaning out crawl space, couple closets, my garage, and I got bins of shit everywhere. Uh, and it's like bins with dirt and grime from like 20 to 25 years worth of collecting. And I found the Jordan rookie the other day. I found a bunch of Marvel masterpieces. Dre was talking about X-Men, and I have bins filled with holographic, collaborative comics. You fucking name it, X-Men, Marvel, all that, just in top-notch condition. I found a Jordan rookie the other day. Some holographic, like USA, like Team USA Dream Team cards from like Fleer, Skybox. It's madness, man. Like I collect obsessively. It's like it's a real problem. I got fucking actually the stuff that I started getting into when the Bulls were winning in the 90s. I was collecting the newspapers that they would run. So I got all the original newspapers from 91 to 90. Was it 91, 2, 3, and 6? Yeah, both three-peats. I have newspapers every day they won in the playoffs. I have all of them, original newspapers, um, sneakers, cards, comics, toys. It's ridiculous, man. Like it's almost like there's a point at which like it's like okay, cool. This is cool, but like when you get to this point, it's like a serious problem, and then it gets to a point of like embarrassing. And I feel like I crossed embarrassing about 15 years ago. Um, so
oh, I'm there with Pokemon. I'm there.
yeah, it's yeah. I didn't really get into Pokemon because to Dre's point, I was a little older, and so my sisters collected all that shit heavy. But Yeah, I was X-Men, Spawn. I have so much Spawn shit. It's insane. Like that was absolutely like my favorite uh when that came out. So yeah, man, I don't even know where I really started. I'm pretty sure it was baseball cards, but naturally that's why I gravitated to NFTs because it was just like, oh, what else can I fucking spend all my money on? So
You're sitting on a
yeah,
cool couple million, is what you're saying. That's what I heard from everything that you just
shit.
found. That is
Hey, I
crazy.
hope so. I hope you're right, Dre. Oh shit, I gotta start getting some of this stuff appraised because like I've been looking at it recently and I'm like, man, I really want to put it up, but like, how much is that really worth? You know?
Yo,
I
please
found
post
I,
pictures, please. I
yeah,
want to see. I want to see them.
yeah. I'll as I start pulling shit out, I might start posting stuff. It's funny too. I noticed, Dre, you mentioned Toys R Us, and I found this boxed manga spawn, like the special edition one, and it still has like the Toys R Us like 14.99 sticker on the top. I'm like, oh shit! Like this is when toys were like really like an expensive toy was like it was $15, and you're like,
Yes.
I'm looking at it now. I'm like, damn, dude, this thing is probably worth fucking, who knows? I have no idea what some of these toys are worth. There's a lot of special edition. I got some of them signed by Todd McFarlane with like
Oh,
certificates of
bro.
authenticity from when I used to go to Comic Con when I was a kid. It's we're definitely at the level of embarrassment. So I got to really figure out what I'm going to start posting before I show you guys the whole shebang. It's wild.
Nah, it's nothing embarrassing about that, bro. You talking about that's a house you got in them business right there. That's
That, but
definitely
yeah,
a
but
car.
it's an addiction. It was an addiction. It's just like thank God I got addicted to collecting that kind of shit and not like doing drugs like my uncles.
Facts.
Addiction clearly
Facts.
runs in my family. I just got addicted to
Facts.
material.
I
Yeah,
think all of us can almost attest to that point, man, because it's the same
for sure.
situation. I grew up watching my aunts and uncles doing the wildest of shit, right? Or
Right,
if it wasn't dealing with a chemical drug, it was dealing with the interaction of human beings, right, as a drug. Like
right,
my uncles being addicted to women and such, or grandfathers and
right.
such. So for us to have this outlet to dive into and at least it be more constructive and it pays us back. Like what you gonna get from collecting all them women back in the 80s, like besides some
Or
STDs and
like,
headaches. You
or
know what I
collecting
mean?
like silver spoons.
You know what I mean? Like at least you could sell those bins and put your kids through college if you chose to do so. Like you sitting on some heat. Seth MacFarlane signed Spawn action figures, bro. You are sitting on some heat.
Yeah, it was his brother Todd. Definitely not Seth.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Uh,
Todd, my bad.
I'm fucking with you. No, but yeah, I mean, and some like defunct comic book. Anybody ever hear of Chaos Comics like Lady Death, Purgatory, Evil Ernie, any of that shit?
I remember
It was
Image
some of the
Comics.
Image. Yeah, Image was nasty too. Obviously with that's where Spawn kicked off, and but but yeah, no, Chaos Comics. It was like kind of indie, but it was like the greatest artwork, like in terms of like that I could compare to Image and what Todd McFarlane was doing with that. Chaos Comics was fucking unbelievable, and the main artist he passed away. I got all these toys and like crazy comics signed uh, by the designer, or not the designer, but the main artist. And I mean, the artwork was fucking unbelievable. So I even have like defunct, a bunch of defunct, like really high end comics. No clue what any of that shit is worth. Man, I'm just looking around. There's so much crazy shit from so many years of collecting. It's probably start, it's probably time to start like either showcasing it, which is what I've been doing by reorganizing my office space, or start selling some of this crap because it's just gonna go to waste, man.
Bang it off, bro. Like go get some more NFTs so you don't have to worry about storage.
I gotta scoop up a few more clones before shit takes off.
Trade all your IRL collectibles for some more digitals. Yo, Sophie just shared a picture in the comments. She was collecting penguins before it was cool, bro. Before there was a pudgy penguin, Sophie had a stack of penguins. Yo.
I had so many penguins. I also had ghosts. I also had whatchamacallit, snow globes, and I also had snowmen. I literally, like, you name it, I collected it. And Ben, I relate, like, so deeply with what you were saying, because we could be here all day. I also, like, went down a whole Hello Kitty and, like, Sanrio era where I just collected all of that, like, crazy, almost like Japanese little toys, collectibles, just anything, like, you name it. I honestly just get overwhelmed by thinking about the amount of things I've collected in my lifetime, because I could be here all day. Does anyone know Domo, the character? The, like, brown little box cube thing? Domo? No?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I remember Domo. My sisters, so I have two younger sisters. I'm actually one of four, and it's I have three sisters, so I was surrounded by fucking unicorns and Barbies and all the Sanrio. Like, dude, there was so much Hello Kitty shit. Like, it almost felt like to the point where, oh, thank you. It almost felt like to the point that I'd walk by my sister's room, and it felt like the room was throwing up uh, dolls, or it was like it was vomiting Hello Kitty dolls and fucking unicorns and shit. It was a really, now that I think about it, yeah, my entire family, we got a lot of problems because everybody collected. They were huge into Pokemon, Final Fantasy, the manga, all the manga comics. Even though they couldn't read them, we had thousands of manga comics just everywhere. Um, and through them is actually how I really got into manga. And actually, my first manga video, which I know Dre is a fan of, was Ninja Scroll, which to me is the epitome of manga.
Facts.
So yeah, it was dope. But yeah, I remember Hello Kitty in my house to the point where I was annoyed by it, and now my daughter loves it. So um, it's it's just meant to be in my life forever.
You know what Domo reminds me of? Like a character from Mario, like the Doug character. It's one of them things. One of them like sand characters. We talking about the same thing. Domo's like a little brown character, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's also the teeth. It's like the teeth of those
Yeah.
chain things in Mario, kind of mixed with the, like, toad or something. I
Yes.
totally, I get the aesthetic you're going for.
So I'm realizing, we'll say what's up to Tevi here in a second. I'm realizing that every decade has its different like collectibles that it went through. Like they're significantly different. What are kids collecting nowadays? Like what is cool nowadays? Are these Pokemon came back in
Cans.
style, or like what is
Cans. Cans.
Ball joint dolls. Have you heard of ball joint dolls?
no, no, but you all have
Okay, so
kids, so
my
that's why I'm asking.
yeah, I have an 11-year-old who just turned, or she just turned 11 over the weekend, and she's big into these ball joint dolls. They all pretty much come out of Japan, which I feel like, I don't know. Japan has a way of getting us all addicted to the shit that they make. But yeah, they're called ball joint dolls, and they're like hyper realistic. You could change out like um the eyes, and like they put makeup on them. They look so realistic. They're like anime style. I'll have to show you guys a picture of it. I just bought her one, um, and it's super, it's super expensive for dolls, but they're also investments. So like I'm teaching her about investments early on. This is her first foray into what essentially will be stocks, right? Like she owns these expensive dolls. There's a company called Smart Doll that I ordered this doll from and spent like, I don't know, $700 on a doll and a fucking one outfit. And but they're made by this guy named Danny Chu, which, if the name sounds familiar, it's because he's the son of Jimmy Chu. Um, the famous footwear designer, and they've actually done collaborations for these dolls with Jimmy Choo. So you could imagine what those fucking shoes cost for dolls. But yeah, my daughter's been collecting the ball joint dolls for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years already, and this was kind of the next level, right? Like now she's kind of double digits official 11. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get you a smart doll because that's kind of the next step. She seems to be taking care of them, so it's like I guess that's like a high end version of what like kids are collecting. But she's got Murakami shit, right? And I think Murakami, because he's obviously contemporary artist, we all love Murakami, but like I think that's one of those people that like transcends generations, right? He's like this guy that it doesn't really matter what generation you come from. I think Murakami is somebody that like speaks to everybody. I mean, kind of the way like even Prince and Michael Jackson in music, at least from my generation. Um, my daughter loved fucking Michael Jackson and Prince. Even though Michael Jackson, sometimes I think about it, I'm like, you know, I want to think that Mike didn't do it, but he did. And so it's like it's hard for me to not uh, have her listen to that. But anyway, that's off a tangent. But yeah, I know that the new generation, at least from what I've experienced with girls, is the ball joint dolls, and they're extremely creepy. And you guys, um, I know you have a daughter, Dre, so you might be, I don't know if you show her, you might have to buy one. So
Yeah, they sound expensive, Jay. Be careful, bro.
they're
I
fucking
know,
He
right?
said
expensive. They
$700.
are
Seven
pricey.
hundred
Don't
dollars.
show her nothing.
Well, she started it's actually my older sister's fault. She got her hooked on them because she bought her one for Christmas one year. But it wasn't like the Jimmy, it wasn't the Danny Chu smart doll. It was the fucking 80, $90 at like a mall store, one of those Sanrio type stores at a mall or something, and she bought her one. And my sister makes clothing for them. She makes dresses, and she makes all kinds of stuff. And she's actually the one that actually builds all. She's a technical garment designer for Sonome. So she's the one who actually does all that. She actually is a pattern designer in real life. So, but she makes clothing, and she takes the pictures, and they have like those really strange fucking weirdo accounts on Instagram where they're like taking pictures of all these crazy dolls that are like super super done up. And so my sister bought one for my daughter and got her introduced, and fucking the rest is history. That's all she wrote. And now it's an official problem because now it's like, okay, I got her this crazy expensive doll. Like she's probably not gonna want any of the cheaper ones at this point because that one's so high quality. So I really fucked up, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
It
you
runs
can't
in their family.
downgrade.
The collector blood, bro. It's the collector blood.
It sounds like American Girl dolls.
yes,
Yeah.
but it's an it's like anime manga style, but it's even more. Um, they can really modify these. Like the eyes look like real eyes. It's really really creepy, but it's basically the Japanese version of an American doll. Um, so yeah, I mean they're super nice. They're really expensive. But again, like to that point, right? It's like instead of buying her some fucking Tesla stock and telling her, hey, save this until you're whatever, it's like this is something that you can use, take care of it. If you do a good job of taking care of it, maybe I'll get you another one sometime, right? Or get some clothes or whatever reward system. And it's a way to teach her, the value of keeping things for a long time because clearly I've done that. And maybe some of this shit's worth some good money. So um, I think it's a valuable lesson. And on top of that, she, Dre, you want your daughter to be able to flex. Like those girls are my life. So, it's one of those things.
That's a fact. My daughter's in a place where she don't even care about the flex. Like she's going into fourth grade this year, so it's not like she doesn't necessarily understand the flex yet, right? Like we pull up to her school and the Tesla and the wing door go up and All the other kids is like, oh, what? And she get out like, man, why we gotta take this car? I'm like, bro, what you on, man? What you want to do? You want to walk? What we on out here? So she ain't made it to that point. We even got her an American Doll girl back when she was, or American Girl doll back when she was younger, maybe like 5, and she ended up giving it to her cousin. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with this. So
Those aren't cheap either. Those
no,
are
they're like
expensive.
$300. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I got my daughter one of those too, and she it was cool, but like she's heavy into anime and like so obviously it made sense that she was gonna really gravitate towards these ball joint dolls. It's pretty crazy, and the industry like it's very cult like. It feels kind of like us,
I'm about to
right,
say
for
us.
clones. Yeah, it feels a lot like this, right, where it's like they were like they sent the doll with like underwear, and in the card they're like, okay, don't feed the doll after 12 or some wild shit like that. And then they're like, oh, we sent her with underwear because obviously if she was naked she'd feel awkward meeting you for the first time naked. All this shit on the card, and I'm like, yo, this is some really culty shit, and I totally understand it, obviously, but it's still weird to me. You know what I mean? But like, I have nowhere to really, I have no space to really fall back on. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Weird with these all these fucking NFTs and shit. Like, oh, I gotta buy another clone. That's really going down in value every day. But I keep buying. So
At
That's
least
so
we got underwear, bro. We not coming naked either. You know?
it was very strange. Yeah.
bro. That's wild. I got no room to talk. I'm using a JPEG picture as a profile picture right now.
An
Yeah.
expensive one. A very expensive one.
No, these are more than JPEGs, I swear. Tevi, my dude,
What's up, everyone?
have you out collected either Sophie or Aunt Ben? I mean, Trey kept it quiet.
No,
I know he's got a collection of everything. Oh,
nowhere near that level. I was just laughing over here. Like I had a rough week, man. You know, like this kind of was our wedding anniversary or whatnot, but wifey got hurt, and so you know, a lot of stuff and work's been a pain, but it's all good. Um, yeah, like the discussion tonight, like listening to N Band has me cracking up. It's one of those things where it's like full admission, completely like disappointed in himself, but it's like, you know what? I'm gonna own it. It doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah, I know it's bad, but what am I gonna do? It's life. It is what it is. We just keep it moving, you know? I'm just laughing. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't think I'm that bad, honestly. Um, but like probably the first thing I started collecting would be like marbles. So like I don't know if in the U.S. people ever played marbles as a game. But my parents, every time they would go, I would ask for like all the different like really cool ones, right? And then you get to play at recess with your friends, and if you win, then you get their marbles. So that was pretty cool. So that was always one thing. Shoes earlier on for sure. That was on mom and dad's money, obviously not mine. And then when I became an adult, I was like, nope, not paying for any of that stuff. So I went through a period of like, no, not really caring about shoes fashion. And then Artifact happened. And then here we are now and throw in blockchain and blah, blah, blah technology. And I got to buy. So now I'm sitting with some cassette tape shoes, which is pretty cool. But probably the thing that I have boxes and boxes and boxes of is movies, like DVDs, movies, mangas, anime. I have boxes that I can even play because I don't even have a DVD player anymore, right? Like I don't even have a VHS player anymore, but I have the tapes, and I've moved them from house to house. I've moved them across the world. Right, so these are some of the same stuff that I had overseas that I brought with me because I just can't throw them away. Um, tell myself someday I'm going to watch them again. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I still have them. So but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Oh, I guess cars and custom parts. That's probably like the other thing. But kind of gave up on that once I went Tesla. But JDM parts, because everything from Japan is amazing, right? So if you're gonna have a car, you gotta go full JDM for your customization. So I did a lot of that. Went through like different iteration of the same car. I actually have a Zippo lighter from SSR wheels, so I was getting different wheels, and it's like 1 in 50 of those lighters that were ever made. So if you wonder why I really wanted that Azuki lighter, that's why, because I like Zippo lighters. I don't have a huge collection, but I like lighters. It's one of the things I was kind of doing. Like every time I would go to a different state, I would try to get either a magnet or a lighter from that had like some graphics from that state. So I guess that was a weird thing that I was kind of doing too. I really don't actually think about this as an addiction. Um, at least I was trying not to. But now that I stop here and I think about it, I've been, yeah.
You know what they say about the first steps, have you, right?
What did they say?
Admitting you have a problem. Here's the
Yeah, maybe. I mean, probably. Honestly, I do. I mean, I do go pretty hardcore into things, right? Like, yeah, I kind of do. Like, I love doing research on whatever. Right? Like, I really get into things. It's funny because my wife and I were talking about that the other day. She was like, "Your shoe collection is getting kind of large now. Like, you have a lot of shoes." I'm like, "It's not that bad." She's like, "Yeah, but when is enough, right?" Like, she's like, "Because she's like, how you get." She's like, "You start, and then you get more interested, and then you dive in deeper, and then it's like you're buying more. It's like, when are you gonna be satisfied?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, I had to buy new shoes because." Like it's been a while and I have to go buy some clothes and stuff because it's been a while. So it's like every 5 years or so, we kind of go through this. And she's like, well, yeah, but that seems like a lot more than you have in the past. I'm like, with the shoes specifically. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I mean, these are cool, right? There's the blockchain element. There's all these things, right? And I sit there and I'm really kind of like talking through why it's okay. So maybe you're right, and Ben. Maybe I do have a problem.
no, I'm right there with you, bro. I dive into stuff and I go deep and I end up spending a lot, and then like if I end up not fully liking it, then I have spent all this money on this stuff. And I think it's important that we got some good women in our life. Like it sounds like your wife is pretty special because Shauna's the same way for me. She'll go, you don't need you like she goes, all right, well, how you get a new hobby, you go all in, and next thing you know, you've got the nicest electronics and sound equipment, and then it's just sitting there and you're not using it, like shit like that, dude. So it's good to have that balance, bro. And so like to realize like, okay, maybe I don't have to go balls deep into everything. And then someone to kind of remind you, like, yo, slow down. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Tevy. Don't worry, bro. You ain't alone.
Yeah, no, she's a gem.
That's
She's
why
definitely she's we've been together for a long time too, so it's like she really knows me. I think I've been with her longer now. That it's funny, we just crossed over the longer together than apart, which is really cool and really weird at the same time. Um, which is nice, actually. It's actually pretty nice. I like it. Yeah, it's like yeah, I do tend to go into. That's why I like information, honestly, because then you can really immerse yourself in it, right, and learn as much as you can about whatever topic. And that's the thing, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to get stuff and have like remorse. What is it like? Buyer's remorse. That's why like I really want to dive in, learn about it, figure it out, and like, yeah, is this something that I vibe with or not? Because if at the end, and this is why clones, like, right? At the end of the day, if the whole thing, like the price of the clone itself goes to like nothing, it doesn't really matter because everything that you're getting, that I'm getting with it, has value, right? Like there's utility there. But if you're just buying like, I don't know, random things and just for the sake of collecting and there's no value, then you might find yourself down the road and you're like, man, why do I even have all this stuff? And I try not to do that. And I definitely did that with cars, where you buy all these parts and you go through like every year. It's almost like every summer I was reinventing the entire car. Like it was like a new outfit for the car, which is ridiculous when you think about it.
I had the same problem, Tevi, and now that you bring that up, I just realized how much of an addiction that was too. So thank
That
you
was bad.
for that.
That is the one thing I would say, like, that actually was an addiction. It was bad because then I sat back and when it's time to sell the car, right? And you're trying to get, bang up the parts and try to make a little bit of money back, and you realize like how there's little value to any you can get back from it. And you can even take it to the dealership and be like, hey, here's the car with all the parts. It's, like I spent all these things on various parts and I had like some, whatever SSR wheels or it's whatever, right? Like all that stuff. They don't care. They actually, it's the dealership will give you less money for your customized car with like um, high end wheels than if you had returned it to stock. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? So,
Yeah. Yeah,
so I'm
and
still
if it's
sitting
high
on,
horsepower,
yeah.
if it's high horsepower too, they know that you're beating the shit out of the car. So like,
Hmm.
they're like, we're gonna give you less money than, we would have given you if you brought it back with all the regular stuff. So that's why what I would do is I would always keep all the stock parts, and if I was gonna trade the car in for whatever reason, I would turn it back to stock, even though I had beat the hell out of that car.
Yeah, I learned that like maybe like the third time around. And I was like, yeah, I probably should keep some of those parts or, go on the forum and get some cheap factory parts, put it back on. Um, but I'm still sitting on my, what are those? I can't even remember the name of those wheels now. That's how bad it is. But they're like, I spent $10,000 on custom wheels. They look dope as hell. Um, like it was like two-tone, red and black, and I got it done for my Mercedes. It was amazing. I love them. But I sold a car. I'm like, I'm definitely not giving that to the dealership because whatever. So I put the stock wheels back on. Eventually, though, I think I'm going to turn them into tables. That's probably what I'm going to do. If I'm being honest, like get somebody to like weld it together and create like a really cool piece of furniture with it. But yeah, still sitting on those wheels. Why can't I think of the brand of them?
Was
Like
it
they're
tuner wheels, like JDM tuner wheels, like
no, these are actually
HHR,
so I had
HREs?
HHR wheels. I had these are not HHR. It's like the other company. I think Vossen is their sub brand. Actually, let me just walk downstairs. I'll give me 1 second.
We need you to post them now.
I
Yeah,
know we got to see
Yeah,
him now.
bro. $10,000 sounds like a lot. Then I kind of remind myself of what I've like bought in Web3 and NFTs and stuff, and then it don't
yeah. That
sound like
doesn't
too
really
much.
matter, right?
It don't
That's
even
what
Facts.
matter
like
if I got a number to talk.
I
Sophie X
paid that
that's what
much
Gamer.
for
like
my
ETH
I
is
paid that much for my
terrible.
bike, bro. I paid 10K for that bike that y'all see me wheeling around all
Oh,
the damn time.
Yeah, it's like that's
five
ADV
E.
ones. ADV ones. Yeah, so ADV one wheels, two tone. It's like the red. It's a two-piece wheel, red inner barrel, and then the face is like this gunmetal smoke, liquid smoke. I think is what it was called. You can actually go on their website, and the serial number is tied to my name and everything on there. That was the first one with that collar scheme and everything. I'll post it up. It's
But
pretty.
is it on the blockchain?
It is not on the blockchain, but it
Really?
has a serial number tied to it. Yeah, actually, let
You
me. I'll snap a picture and I'll put it up right now. There.
know what everybody's problem is? Here's what our problem was: is that nobody in our family got us addicted to like collecting currency or collecting coins, money. There's like people collect money and coins. Um, what would be fun if the U.S. currency was different. Every dollar was different, like Pokemon cards, and forced you or made you want to actually hold that shit and collect it. But because they all look the same, like I don't want to hold a bunch of this cash. Like there's nothing unique about this dollar. But if they made the U.S. dollar different, like Pokemon cards, I would have probably collected more of them.
Yeah, we would have been all over that. That's for sure.
Collecting, yeah, bro. But so I think the problem stems from just the fact that that's like what society pushes to find something to spend your money on. Like it's like consumerism. And now I'm sitting here realizing like I'm always into something, some kind of hobby, something I'm spending money on. Like I didn't need that hobby. Like it was cool at the time, but I didn't need it. Um,
You know what
yeah,
the problem is, Comp? It's community. It's always about community. It's like, oh, we're all going to get together. We're going to do this thing, and it's going to be super cool. And we're all hanging out and making memories and blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, you're spending thousands and thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. It all stems from community. Um,
no, I get what you're saying because you're trying to connect and meet people. But I've
yeah.
had hobbies that like don't even involve that. I've been spending money on shit that's like hobbies for myself. Just this so funny. We're all sitting here going, shit, maybe we got a collecting problem. Sophie, you had your hand up earlier. I don't want you to think we skipped you.
It's
Save me from
it's
my,
all good.
my existential crisis that I'm having right now.
No, I was gonna tell you, Tevi, that I still have all my like old VHS tapes that I obviously had as like movies and stuff. But what I did for home videos, which were all on like the smaller tapes, the cassette tapes, I sent them to this because yeah, they're annoying. They take up all that space. I sent them to this service. They send you a box. You put all your stuff in it. Like you could do films of tape. Like you can do pictures and anything you want, and they digitalize it all and they send you back the box, but they also send you back just like a USB or a disc, whatever you want. And it's pretty affordable, and it's like one of those things where you gotta like spend the weekend collecting all your stuff, putting it all together, putting it in this box, and then you're gonna be so grateful, and you've all those memories because like they're now like accessible because they're digital, of course. It's worth it.
I definitely need that because, man, I could rewatch some of the. Man, I could watch all of the Sensei. I could watch all of the Dragon Ball Z. Well, I mean, that's already online, but I could go back to and actually watch my own stuff. I like, oh, man, yeah, yeah. I definitely need that. That would be cool. Please send me that. That's awesome.
Put it all on a hard drive.
Yep.
I have a hard drive of all my music from like middle school to high school. I had moved it from hard drive to hard drive every time I got a laptop, and now it's on this like big terabyte hard drive. Movies, like TV series, like it's actually. I don't know if I'll ever go back and listen through it, but there's just something about keeping all the music that you stole from LimeWire. And you know, you put a lot of work into steal that music from LimeWire or wherever it came from. So my computer's got a lot of viruses downloading LimeWire shit. So I got to keep that. It's
I
memories.
have discs from when I was younger that are like CD discs, and they all say like Sophie's mixtape number 1, number 2, number 3, and they're like, oh, I like scribbled all these like drawings on them and like whatnot, and I'm dying to like listen to what the first song on like mixtape number 1 is. I don't even remember, but like I gotta know.
So, all right. I want to say hi to Elle in a sec, but this brings up a story, mixtape story. So I think we all did that. I think I lacked creativity too. I just like my mixtape or something. But Shauna moved here to California, and her stack of mixtapes from like middle school somehow ended up in the kitchen drawers. And I have like the professional like DJ setup CDJs, and it takes USBs, it takes all kinds of inputs, and one of them is a CD. It's you can still put CDs in this thing. That's why they're called CDJs. So I had a birthday party and had like 5 DJ friends over. These are like EDM DJ friends, really good DJs, and I challenged them. We put in one of the decks, we put Shauna's mixtape from middle school in one of the one of the decks, and the other side they got to use their USB, and her mixtapes were not named or numbered, like the songs weren't, so they just had to pick a random song from her middle school mixtape and mix it into some EDM song on their USBs from one of my birthday parties like 2 years ago. Yeah, a bunch of people here and had like a mixtape challenge, and it was with her middle school mixtape. That's my mixtape story. Elle, what's up?
Hey guys, this is a good line of subject matter away from the conspiracies tonight. But yeah, so I used to live in the Bahamas for 16 years, and we had planes that would come in like every week. So it wasn't like we were in the middle of nowhere. But I have this like compulsion to like never not have something. So like if I want art supplies, I have to have like everything that Michael's has. I never want to not have something. I never want to like need something that I don't have, or I've got to wait like a whole week for it. So, everything from like photography was probably the worst thing that I've ever collected, because like lenses are like, $4,000 I was paying for lenses, and I just never used them. I would use one lens and one camera all the time. But, I switched from Nikon, and then I switched to Sony, and then I started flying drones, and it's like, so I think photography is probably my worst thing I've ever gotten into. Worse than NFTs, actually.
So photography is a money pit. Like, it's expensive to have that hobby.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is the lenses hold value, so like you can still sell them and trade them in and still get some money out of them. But yeah, it's they don't upgrade as fast. I guess that's good. If you get a good piece of glass, it's going to be good for a long time. But yeah, that was probably my worst. And I bought an airplane, and I had to buy like all the parts for the airplane, and like everything that they had for an airplane. Like I had to go buy, and the hats and the t-shirts and everything. And yeah, so
Like like model airplanes.
no, like I bought a real airplane.
Oh shit! See, I'm on a different level here. Like, I'm thinking,
Bruh.
Greg.
I was
I
I,
didn't grow. I didn't
I
grow
was
up like
legit thinking like a toy plane, like a model or something. She's like, nah. I mean, nobody ain't got time for that. I got a real one with all the
photography.
It
clothing.
was
She said I bought an airplane. Like, that's
it was like
nuts.
baby steps into a helicopter, which is what I was flight training into a helicopter. But I didn't like when I was flight training, I didn't like the planes that I was having to train on. They were just super dangerous. I didn't feel like anybody was watching the maintenance of them. And then, like you didn't know who flew it right before you, if they had a hard landing, and they're not going to tell anybody, and then you're getting into that plane. So I just thought it was dangerous. So when I was flight training, I just bought my own little airplane and then sold it
Safety,
after I finished. I'll post a picture
safety
of it.
first. Yeah, let's see it. Like we should all pin at the top like the stuff.
That's crazy. Wait, El, do airplanes go up in value? Are they like Rolex or watches, or you know what I mean? Like, can you buy it for a small amount and sell it for a higher amount? Like, how does that work?
If it floats, if it flies, if it fucks, that's what they say. And that's true. So it's like buying a boat basically. But I did actually make money off my plane. I put a little bit of money into it, but I got a really good deal on my plane. I flew out and flew it all the way back from San Francisco, and I got a really good plane with low miles on the engine, so I was able to sell it to a flight school.
It's a different level of shopping. I didn't even know you could go up online and just buy a plane real quick. So I was gonna. She started talking, said she bought a plane, and then I'm like, oh, like a relatable story. Maybe I'll bring up how I almost got into like model helicopters, and I figured that might be an expensive hobby. And the model helicopters look expensive, and I'm glad I just never had the money to do so. If she was talking about a real plane the whole time, though. Oh, bro, I almost made it so much worse for myself. Oh, okay.
This is pure gold.
Bro,
This is pure gold.
I don't know if you've ever talked to anybody into model planes and helicopters. Them things are expensive as hell. And then, yeah, that's not what she was referring to. That's I've always wanted to learn how to fly a helicopter though, and I was gonna use the GI Bill to do it, but they don't. You can only get your private pilot's license up to a certain. I don't know. You got to pay out of pocket for something, and then you could use the GI Bill to finish the rest. Well, I don't know if they do helicopters, and I don't know if I want to fly planes. Shauna started flying planes, and I don't know, Elle, if you can relate. She said that it's super boring. Like it's like driving a car for a bunch of hours, except you don't actually get to look at anything. It's just blue. Like there's nothing up there. That was why she doesn't fly anymore. She did a bunch of flying, and she's not good at like sitting still and looking at nothing. Is that true?
You know what? It actually is, and it's really stressful to learn because mainly the radios. Like I was just so stressed out at work. I was running a big company, so I was always stressed. So I was thinking, oh, this would be a good hobby. I can go out and fly a plane, and it's about 2 hours to my house in Boca to the island that I lived on. And we have an airport close by, and we had an airport on one of our islands. So I was like, oh, I could just fly back and forth whenever I wanted. And, we had a plane that we could do it with, but like, it was like I would have had to fly for a couple of years to be able to fly the turbine. So anyway, I wanted to buy this plane and I was training in it, but I didn't realize it is really boring and you're sitting in the clouds. It's really dangerous. They basically say like at some point you're probably going to get into an emergency. So they like basically like just pull levers while you're flying. They'll just like pull something so you start to fall out of the air all the time, like just to catch you off guard, or at least the trainer that I had. And the helicopters were worse. Like when they shut the engine off in the helicopter and you have to glide, it's pretty scary. And I was with this Navy guy that was training on helicopters, but I think because I used to volunteer a lot for World Central Kitchen, and whenever there was like a disaster, because I'm an EMT also, like I would get to go up in helicopters and I would get to go to all these like zones and medically help people. And I did that like whenever I had time off work, I would take like a week off and go do volunteer work. So they started putting me in the helicopters a lot. So I was like, hey, if I'm sitting in these helicopters and these guys are letting me like co-pilot, I can actually get hours. They can sign off on these hours. And that's what's really expensive is getting these training hours. So if you have somebody that has a certain kind of license, they can sign off and you get credit for those hours. So, and every constantly I was like going back and forth from the island 2 hours back and forth each way, that I could build up my hours. But the problem with flying is like you have to get tested every year. There's a lot of maintenance. So owning a plane, if you don't have like a staff taking care of it, it was like a lot of work trying to make sure that it was like it's the most regulated anything that the FAA is like insane, like how much they make you do maintenance on the planes. And then also like you have to test every year, and if you don't fly like all the time, it gets a little dangerous because it's just something that you want to constantly do, especially when you're new. Like once you've flown for a while, you can step away a little bit longer, but at first you want to just keep up with it and fly like every week. And that was just too hard for me. I was working too much at the time.
Doesn't sound like much of a stress relief. I see why you originally started though. Like, yeah, let's get up in the air. I'll just cruise around, like relieve some stress. And then you have some instructor turn your engine off in the middle of the ocean or some shit.
Yeah, and it's also kind of cool, like to say I own a helicopter. I was kind of going for that. Like, how cool is it to like own a helicopter? But then it was just so much stress, like with this airplane. Like, you had to pay for a hangar, which is really expensive here in Florida, and you have to move it when there's a hurricane. I would have to worry about the plane because your insurance won't cover it, even if it's in a hangar. If you're supposed to move it, so you'd have to fly it like away from the hurricane a couple hours, and I was always getting the island ready for a hurricane, so I was never in Florida. So it just got like too much. It was a lot of work. Like, like it's a pretty good career. It's a pretty good if you want to get into it. Like they do a lot of scholarships and they'll help you like basically pay for your training. If you're going to go all the way to be a commercial pilot, they'll like help you fly and help pay for your training. But I was just kind of doing it for fun. And I think when it just got to be not fun anymore is I just sold my plane and stopped. I was like, this is way too much money to just dread having to go do this all the time. I was so excited when it would like get gray skies and we'd get like our flight canceled that day. And that's when I was like, okay, I probably shouldn't be doing this anymore.
Man, that's next level shit. I've never heard anyone come up on the stage and stunt the way you just stunted with your real life story right now. That is fucking crazy shit. That's dope.
Well, I had some Pokemon cards.
Right?
Pokemon cards. Yo, L, book a helicopter, right? You got a Lucid now. That's all I'm saying. Who needs a helicopter when you got a Lucid?
Bro,
That's
she said she had to call people to move her helicopter because a storm was coming, bro. Like, what? What are you
Yeah, I had to pay somebody, like my pilot for, for work, not that my personal pilot, but the pilot for the island would have to go. I'd have to pay him extra money to go fly the plane. But fuel and like flying a plane is really expensive too. So you think you save all this money by owning a plane, but just to fly a plane to like Ohio would have cost me way more than a commercial flight, like 5 times the price. So then it's like just not worth it. Then you got to pay to put it somewhere, and you want to put it in a hangar. You don't want it to sit out in the sun. It was just like a whole mess. It's harder than it sounds.
so without getting, I don't want to get too personal and like into it, but so I went to Vegas. When we were in Vegas, I saw that David Copperfield still does go there regularly. Does he still visit the island? Does that pilot fly him back and forth for his shows? Like how does that all work? Or does he strictly rent the island out?
So he rents the island out, but he goes there about a week every month still. So he has shows in Vegas, and whenever he's not performing in Vegas, he's on the island pretty much with his family. So he still does go there all the time. He has a global, like a big jet that he flies from Vegas straight to like Georgetown, and then he rents a seaplane to take him that last like 15 minutes, so he doesn't have to get in a boat. Um, and we had it like a brand new, like really nice Kodiak airplane, a turbine that he bought, and then he decided he wanted to fly in a seaplane, so he never flew in the brand new plane that we bought for him. So basically, we got to just use that for cargo. It was a 10-seater. Like people think it was small. It was a beautiful plane, though.
You could have got when you finished your license, just be cruising his planes around all over the place.
Yeah, I mean,
Would
if
have
I
been.
would have had time, that was kind of the goal. Is I could have trained up and grabbed that plane whenever I needed it, but it just uh, it just wasn't worth it. I had too much else going on that, like, unless you're doing it full time, it just wasn't fun for me. And I don't know why. I seem to have a harder time with the radios, like understanding what they were saying, to the point that I would just you can listen to like all the calls for the airports. You can pick an airport. So like if I'm sitting in an airplane, like a commercial plane, I always like flip over and listen to what the pilots are saying. Um, so I would just listen to that and try to repeat what the people were saying. That's like the way that I try to learn. Flying's hard.
I feel like the pilots talking on the radio is the equivalent of like doctors' handwriting. Like you're just listening, like what the fuck are they saying? But they know what they're saying. Like doctors know what each other are writing, but like nobody else knows what the fuck they're saying. That's the way I've always looked at it.
Yeah, my first lesson, I flew with this guy. He was a total jerk. And he was like, okay, I need you to, call yourself onto the runway. And like, and they told me like how to get to the runway I needed to take off on. It was a complicated airport. I'd never been there. And I have no idea. Like, he's like, you got to repeat them. You got to repeat them. And I'm like, I don't know what they said. I don't even think it was English. Like, I have no idea what they said. And he's like, you're never gonna make it. You're never gonna make it. And this is like the first time I ever got in an airplane and got on headset. So it was like very stressful. That's why I ended up kind of going. I went to a couple different schools, but that's the most important person. The most important thing is to find someone to train you if you're gonna do it, that you get along with and you vibe with. Like, I'm a really calm person. So like the whole like stressed out, like do it now, do it now, do it now. Like it just didn't vibe for me very well.
Dude, you're not helping me, man. We're gonna end up crashing this bitch together. You better calm down. That's crazy.
I think I
Yeah,
remember
the
Shauna.
guy that kept pulling the engine while we were flying at the first, like, so I would know what it felt like if your engine just shut off while you were flying. I'm like, we don't need to do that. I get it.
Shauna talked about the radio being super hard to understand as well. Like that was something that she had to study a lot. What's funny is Shauna's both of her parents and her sister are pilots. Her sister's an Air Force pilot, and then her parents fly for United. And her dad is like an F-16 pilot in the Air Force, and whenever there's a movie on with planes or pilots, or there's like Top Guns on or something, they pace around the living room and he'll point out like the shit they're saying wrong. He's like, "That's not how you do that call." Like they'll pace around and just call out movies. I think we all probably do it when it's something we're interested in, but it's so funny if like any movie comes on with pilots, they'll both just call out that no, no, that's not right. That's not how you do the call. I'm over here like it's fucking gibberish no matter what I'm hearing.
When I was a paramedic, I used to watch Grey's Anatomy when I was going through training, and I'd be like I would like learn from Grey's Anatomy. It was pretty accurate, but they would do stuff, and I'd be like, oh yeah, like they did that wrong. You would never do that.
I do that with military movies. You like one pops up and his uniform's all fucked up or something. You don't even have it like you don't have it as badge like his patches on right or anything. They're saying weird shit. They're in the army calling like Sergeant Sir and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You're all jacked up.
You're all ate up. Private Willie out here doing.
It stresses me out. I'm like, nah, you're all ate up.
Nah, that's crazy. I always wondered that too. Is the radio hard to understand because it's like a certain type of accent that they speak it in, like a terminology that they use, or like a specific type of gibberish, quote unquote, that they use? You know what I mean? Like
They
sound like pig Latin.
Radio, like you always had to be really short because there's so many people calling in. Like you don't want to hold up the radio, so like everything has to be super short. So they abbreviate everything, and they'll just say it really fast. And like sometimes it takes a while to think if they're like A5 to 3C, take a left, and like they're just giving you routes, and you're just like, I have no idea what they're saying, and you got to call out like your flight number and everything's the alphabet. I used to drive around and look at license plates and try to read them because you've got to be like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, like you can never say letters, and 9 is niner, like so I would just constantly, like while I was working or doing other things, just try to get that like ingrained into your head. I still do it now, just like I call someone like on the phone, customer service, and they're like, CAB or something, and I'm just like, canoe. I don't know. I'm like, you would never
I do the same thing.
I went through all that training because you lose it if you don't do it all the time.
Yeah. Can you still do the phonetic alphabet count? Like Charlie, Alpha, Bravo, Echo, Delta? Or do you like
Bravo.
Is it just me or is Comp rugging?
I think it's rugging.
As long as it's not just me.
Rug?
Yeah, you started rugging. You started talking about military stuff, started rugging.
Rugging.
Yeah, no, I could do it. That'd be slow.
Yeah, I gotta. It'll come back to me slow too if I start doing it. That's crazy. I never even thought about the type of way that you have to speak on the plane. You can't be like, "Yo, so looking to land. Shit, trying to take this motherfucker down the shit, motherfucking get off the radio."
Yeah, bro. The two-way radio in general, only two people. Like you can only be one person can be speaking at a time. Listen to truckers. Like you can probably listen to truckers radio. There's a whole different language. I'm sure if someone came in this space who doesn't know shit about NFTs, what the fuck are they saying? What are they talking about? What kind of words are they using?
Motherfucking where's Baron at? 'Cause I know Baron flies. I know he know all of this stuff.
He talking about wag me, and people are like, "What is even a wag me? What are we wagging?"
Tevi will like the fact I sold my airplane, and before I even the second I signed the paperwork, that's when I went and I bought the Tesla X that day.
See, now that's a proper trade-off. That just kidding. Nah, that's cool though. Honestly, Al, you are balling on a whole different level, and I appreciate that. You're so down to earth, and we can have these conversations super casually, right? So, I love you for that. I think that's super cool.
Bruh, I'm telling you, I told y'all when we met her in Miami, and just the conversations we were having on the way to the different events that we were going to, she was blowing my mind. I was like, bro, y'all have no idea who y'all talking to when it comes to this shit. Like, she is a goat. Period.
Let's do an L AMA right now. Ask me anything. L's live. I feel like she's got so many interesting stories.
Man, I know
Compounds
you remember those conversations.
real.
What's up?
You're about to dox me for real. You're gonna get to know everything.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's a wrap, bro.
Oh, I suppose
And
my
you're gonna
man's
come
gonna
back
be
with
all over
all
the
types.
place. A little
Yep.
camera. Be like, all right, here's the left side of the house. Here's the right side. Here's the controller for like the third AC unit and everything. Oh man, you know what? We should have what was it like? Was it like MTV Cribs? Yeah, it was MTV Cribs. We should have an L edition MTV Cribs, filmed by Compound, and then only dropped in the Bad Take Chat Discord. Yep, something like that.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Wish I could help. I'm under NDA. Can't help. I'm gonna be chilling by the pool with her cat and dog for 10 days in the beautiful Florida weather. Drinking margaritas or whatever. Who knows? It's gonna be a vibe. I'm gonna bring my laptop outside. Illen's gonna drive down to Florida from South Carolina. We're gonna get some food and get some coffee, hang out. No, I just made that up. I know he's listening.
I was gonna say, wait, maybe I should fly because like I said, I'm being Tijuana. Maybe I should just do a quick detour by Florida before I head back up. I don't know, man. That's like a good thing.
Link up with JKB. I know he out there too. I don't know how close he is to L's place, but I know he out there.
Yeah, JK's out here.
Oh, I forgot about JKB. That's right.
He's a cool cat, man.
I got a message. I'll message him. I'll message Zap. But like, yo, let's get coffee. Who else? POVs out there. Or knowing me, I'll just get I'll just be in the pool, just walking the dog and chilling with the cat, and then in the pool all day and completely forget to hit anybody up.
Yeah, you'll pretty much just take over what I do.
No, that plane is crazy. How much does a plane like that cost, man? That is crazy.
That was like a little over 400.
Damn. That is crazy. That's a whole nother level, man. Like,
that's a good looking plane.
I know. It looks amazing. That's crazy for her.
Is it a one-seater? It looks like a one-seater. No, there's a couple.
It's a four-seater.
It's like a coupe.
It's a four-seater, but like you could like only fit 2 people in it, really, because of weight. Unless you took out half of your fuel.
Could I fit in there?
Nah, you would not fit. Unless you took out.
I could fit you sideways. Like golf clubs, like you just kind of put you sideways, like popped out that little thing.
That's cool. I can lay down. I'll lay down for it. Shit, let's get there.
That might be it, man. That's super cool. Actually, looking at that, that's. Oh yeah, look at that.
That is crazy, man. This is like a video game,
man.
Yeah, so that's called a glass cockpit. So, like, I wanted glass because that's what I was trying to learn to fly in the helicopter. So, glass is like, you have basically all electronics. And then you still have your, like, normal gauges up front in case your electric goes out. But, you have, like, mainly like a video game you're playing.
I'm about to say, like, Top Gun. This is crazy. What year is this playing?
Let me look. I don't remember. I've moved on. I'll tell you 1 second.
Big boy status. That's crazy, man. This is nuts.
That's gonna be a new goal. Get a plane at some point.
No.
Just to have it in the driveway.
No.
A little hangar.
No. I want to ask you this. So I know it's tax benefits from owning like a private jet that you can rent out and utilize with your businesses, if to save you money in taxes and things of that nature, right? Like I'm sure everybody heard about 50 Cent having to like before the end of the year, before the end of the tax year, having to like buy a plane real quick just because if he didn't spend that money, he'll have to pay it in taxes. So it's tax benefits from making moves like that. Is it the same situation when it comes to those type of planes as well? Or did you even think about getting to anything like that?
No, I tried. I hired like a tax attorney because I dealt with like all of our taxes for the island and for our plane. And there is nothing that I could get back for this plane except, like I had to make a Delaware company and buy it through there. So I didn't really have to pay much taxes like in Florida. There's no state tax there. So I paid like to register it, but I didn't really have to pay a tax on it, except when I first bought it. But, there is like the higher, it's like you buy like a $20 million plane, you don't pay any tax on it.
And you can rent that joint out and make money off of it, for real.
No, because one person lands wrong in that plane and it's done. Like nobody will buy a plane that's had a really hard landing or had any damage to it, even if it like has some rash. They call it rash. Like if it hits when you're putting it away and it fits almost exactly in the hangar. So I had this like little. It was so cool. It was one of my favorite things. I got to find this video. It like the front wheel. It's not called a wheel, but the front wheel basically like was on a remote control track, and I had a remote control and I could walk and move my airplane, and I would walk it to go get fuel, and I would just walk next to it so I don't have to start it and use a little remote control and drive it like next to me. So that was probably my favorite thing about it, is just like walking it like a dog with my drone.
Shaw's been listening, and she says her most expensive hobby is skydiving. She got really deep into skydiving. Has like the parachute's super expensive, and all the trips were expensive. Oh yeah, you got to pay for the planes to bring you up to altitude and shit. I never skydived. She did it. That's her hobby.
Did she ever I skydove? Did she ever pack chutes for people so that she could jump for free? They used to do that in Vegas with us. If we packed the chutes, if we got certified and packed the chutes, they would let us jump out of the plane that day for free.
I was just happy that I was able to pack my own. So no, I didn't pack anyone else's. But there were people at the drop zone who were there packing. Yeah, they would probably get lifts for free.
I'm not jumping out of no planes. I'll tell you that right now. That ain't my thing.
I want to jump out of a plane, for real.
Do it. You'll get hooked.
Says you'll get hooked if you do it. Dre got a $10,000 bike, 2 of them. He got a backup bike. Buy one to rock, one to stock. And now that's what he said. He said 1 to rock, 1 to stock. And now you're trying to get him into skydiving, your most expensive hobby. This is a recovery session. We're talking about expensive hobbies.
I don't want to do it as a hobby. I want to do it as, just doing it at least once. Honestly, I wanted to do it in the military. But when I was in basic training in AIT and when I was going to switch over to be a ranger, I called my mom excited, like, yeah, I'm about to start jumping out of planes. She's like, no, you're not. Don't let them get you into that. Don't you start doing that. You're there to do something XYZ. You're there to do something else. You got to use them, not let them use you. And I was like, damn. And that was the end of my ranger career right there. And plus, they had to run around in combat boots, too. And I was already, like, having shin splints and all types of shit. And I was like, maybe mom's right on this one. I'm going to have to skip this out.
I did. I jumped in the military, and that's actually how I broke my wrist. So when I had a friend at the time who skydived, and he was like, you just got to try it. It's different. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. I was like, I broke my wrist jumping out of a plane. I'm not going to do it for fun. Then I did a tandem, and next thing you know, I'm 80 jumps in, jumping out of hot air balloons and helicopters for fun. But my parents actually, they met on a skydiving team together. So I guess it runs in the family.
That's crazy.
Have you lied,
Abby?
Do you glide?
No, I don't.
I want to glide so bad.
Like with the wingsuits.
No, like gliding in an airplane, but without an engine. Like a lot of
Oh,
pilots blow up and do it like for fun on weekends or whatever. But
oh shoot, no, I haven't.
See, that's
And
wild to me. I would jump out of a plane with a parachute, but I'm not doing wingsuit gliding, hang gliding, airplane gliding. Nah, I don't want nah.
A glider with no engine.
Nah.
you try it and you're
what is
like,
that?
oh, shoot, that was fun.
50 Shades of Grey. He takes her up in a glider, and it got gliders like really popular for a while. It's about the size of my plane, but the wings are way, way, way longer. And it gets pulled
Nah.
up by a plane. They pull you like it's attached like by a rope basically to a plane, and they take off. They get you up in the air, and then they disconnect, and you just glide around until you go back down. It's actually safer than like hang gliding. Some of them have little tiny engines just in case you need to like kind of get on path, but sounds fun. But Dre, you need to skydive. There's nothing like jumping out of a plane. I used to do it in the morning before work when we used to work in Vegas. You would go there at like 5 in the morning, pack a chute, jump out of a plane, and then go to work. And there is like nothing that anybody can do that day to get you down. You're just like in a high the whole day.
Oh yeah.
It's like coffee in the morning. I'm about to skydive real quick, then I'm on my way. That's crazy.
No coffee, no stimulants. Who needs any of that? I'm jumping out of a plane this morning. Shauna says, like, yeah, no, she's right. There's nothing like that adrenaline rush all day. I've rappelled out of a lot of helicopters. Like, I've done that.
That's crazy too. See, no, I'm gonna nah.
Probably not about as high as I'm gonna get, and I'm attached to a rope, and I'm rappelling down.
Nah. Oh, you know one thing that the issue that I come across is me being so big. Like I can't really embark in these journeys, right? Because shit don't fit me. I gotta have like special edition created stuff for me.
You'd have to tandem, bro. You'd have some guy on your back like a backpack. You'd have to go together. You couldn't solo.
Now imagine how
You'd have
imagine how,
on your back.
but imagine how big dude it have to be for it to be the right component, right? Like for it to be the right strategy for it to work. Like I have a dude who's literally the size of a backpack on my back, like a backpack.
Yeah, bro. And if he's no. That's what I was saying too. Is the only way I could skydive is to tandem, and I just don't want a dude strapped to my back, and we're like flying, floating down. I don't know, bro. Oh man,
It's like riding on a motorcycle together, me and you. Like, then we get there.
I had my bucket list trip for a while. I was gonna go like you can go over the Alps. Like you hike for like 3 days, and then they take you in a helicopter and you can jump out like over the Swiss Alps, like and skydive down, and then they give you like all this gear. So if you get lost, it usually takes a couple days for them to get to you. So they give you like a tent and everything, and you're jumping so high that you have to have oxygen like to go down because you're up so high.
What the fuck, man? I don't want to do anything where it's like, yo, you might get lost, so take this tent and we'll come for you. But
Sorry, I
just be
said Alps.
prepared.
I meant Mount Everest.
Nah, man. See, that's how you know that you've been a part of the next level rich type of life. Because y'all start finding shit to do. Like, yo, let's go to the fucking Alps and jump out this plane. Make sure you get the oxygen because you know the air is thin up there. And make sure you pack that tent because we might get lost. So, but fuck it, let's go. Y'all down? I'm down. Let's go. Like, nah, man, I ain't made it to that point.
let's take a submarine down to the Titanic.
Facts.
Let's climb the highest mountain. No, that's one thing that we always like. Every time I see, oh shit! Every time I see those guys that free climb, like the guys that climb mountains with no ropes, and they rock climb with no ropes, or they climb Everest. Just like, bro, people just looking for that next adrenaline rush. Like I respect it, but at what point is it really that fun to be on the verge of death, like at all times? Just
Right.
like, is that fun? Is that the adrenaline we need now? We've surpassed all things that you just have to like put yourself on the edge of death.
I'm not with that. I
I
haven't
mean,
made it to
isn't
that
that
point.
what Web3 is all about?
I was about to say, start collecting NFTs. You get the
with all
same
these
type of.
mints and people are losing their minds, and going crazy on the timeline. Like it's the same thing. So jump off the plane, mint something, and potentially get drained. I don't know. I feel like it's all the same.
It's an adrenaline rush. They need their fix. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Means and bro, what happened to the
Yeah.
old cup of coffee in the morning? Like that, what happened to that? Like, is that not
Too
enough?
basic. Too basic.
So I'm about to have me an espresso. They just look at you and laugh like, yeah, I'm about to jump out this plane, bro. I bet you L has these stories, bro. If you were doing this stuff, imagine what Copperfield and Oprah and Elon and all of them doing. They was probably on some other shit.
One day when it's
They're all boring is the problem. You know who's crazy? Sergey Brin, the owner, the guy that started Google. He got married on our island, and he got me started kite surfing, and that's how I really hurt my back. But that's like insane, the stuff that they do kite surfing.
Wait, how does kite surfing work?
I was about to say, I don't even know what that is.
So you have like a snowboard, basically. Your feet are not like attached into it. Like you're barefoot. You usually have like some kind of like a wetsuit foot thing on, like a sock, just so it doesn't rub your feet too bad. But you basically have like, you kind of lock your feet into it, but they're just kind of loose. So you're just kind of putting your foot underneath like a handle. So you're wearing a kite like on a harness, and the kite goes up in the air, and you've got to learn to like keep this kite going back and forth to like keep it in the air, basically. So you have like this very small angle of wind that if you go too far, the kite will just drop. So you've got to like kind of learn how to keep it into the wind, and it's attached basically at your waist, and you got to get the kite going, and then you've got to be able to like get the board under your feet while you're on the kite in the middle of the ocean and kind of launch, and then you're snowboarding on the water. And they actually kiteboard on snow sometimes on ski slopes, but it's pretty fun, but it's pretty rough. Like I've had some pretty bad accidents. Maybe I'm just not very good at it, but it's it takes a while to learn, and it's some pretty rough crashes.
That sounds like 3D rendering. It's really hard until you get it, and then it's a little easier, but you can still mess up pretty bad.
Yeah, a crash will set you back.
Like, man, I never heard of kite. That sounds really cool, but like super complex to get the right balance. I mean, I guess I don't know. The closest thing I can actually like that I can compare to is maybe riding a wheelie on a highway with a motorcycle and just hitting balance point. If you do it right, it's amazing, and you feel like you're on top of the world. But if you screw up, you hit the tarmac at 80, 90 miles an hour. Doesn't feel good.
Yeah, dude, I got into kiteboarding after I moved to the East Coast because when I was out on the West Coast and in the South Pacific, I just surfed, and I was like, that was easy because you just have a board. And then when I moved to the East Coast, I started kiteboarding a little bit, and I mean, it's kind of a mecca down here. Those dudes just come down here quite a bit. I think Google actually bought like a massive mansion on one of the barrier islands here in Charleston. I think they had it for a couple of like maybe 5 years. And because it's so easy to sort of do here, like the winds are perfect, and it's shallow for a really long way. So it's a really easy place to learn, but you can like get out in some decent and waves and stuff. And It's still super massive here, but I haven't been out in a while. But it's like, yeah, you see them all over the shop. But the dudes have started doing because it is gnarly. Like you think about the conditions you need for it. It's got to be windy, and when it's windy, dude, you get like the surface of the ocean is super choppy. And on a little bitty ass fucking fiberglass board, dude, it's not that fun. It's not that fun, dude, unless you have waves and so they kind of like smooth out and you can kind of get in the waves, and that's actually a little bit more fun. But that just adds like a lot more complexity. But my brother was all into it, so I had to get out there and do it with him. But now he's all into his like e-foil and shit, and so we do that sometimes, or ride electric dirt bikes, which is super fun.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I used to do like motorcycle racing. That was fun. So that's probably like the most dangerous thing I've done, I would say, because of the speed and virtually, I mean, the only thing protecting you if you hit the ground is your helmet and your race suit, right? I mean, at 150, 60, 200 miles an hour doesn't really make a difference, honestly. Well, I guess it kind of does. It helps. I mean, if you slide, it's fine. You'll just kind of slide for a while and then just wait till all that momentum is gone and you can get up. But if you high side, it's a done deal. So I don't know. I guess that kind of makes sense. I would like to try that though. That sounds kind of cool.
We went from our most expensive hobbies to our most dangerous hobbies. Sheesh. I actually have never done any extreme anything like as a hobby. I played rugby up to like the professional level, and that was probably about as extreme as it got. But nothing like dirt biking or kiteboarding or anything. Bike riding the streets of LA. Never done that. That's fucking dangerous right there. That's
Yeah,
fucking
Extremely
dude,
dangerous.
I'm super proud of you, Dre. Hey, like I have a road bike too, and I do it quite a bit down here because it just is so fucking flat. I used to ride a lot. I used to ride like downhill and mountain bike a lot, but when I moved to the East Coast, it's just flat. So I started riding my road bike a lot more.
Extremely dangerous. Extremely. I wouldn't recommend it it's not for everybody. So now the homies put me on to the bike game back when we rented a house in West LA, West Hollywood back in July 21, just to get the feel and feel the manifestation of being out in LA and all of that good stuff. And then we ended up finding our house out here. And that's what made us ultimately make the move. But when we was out there for the summer, my guys was like, yo, we ride bikes out here. So when you come, you got to buy a bike. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I buy a bike, not knowing what the hell I'm getting into, right? I just knew it was expensive, and nobody really taught me how to ride a road bike because it's different than a regular bike. And it's just like trial by fire. So my first ride they rode me, we went down to Santa Monica, Venice, all of that stuff. Second ride, we was on PCH, bro, riding to Malibu, like cars going 60 miles per hour right by me. It's inches of space for me to ride on, and it was just like trial by fire. And yeah, man, it's crazy, but it's dope because it's like moving meditation. You know what I mean? Like it's similar to how it was when you're doing army training comp, like you do your FTX and you do like your 15K. And you'll be just walking and marching for miles on miles, but your mind just leaves and goes somewhere else. It's the same thing on the bike. So I love it. I like it.
Yeah, that's definitely what attracted me to the road bike. Because like when you think about it, I mean, if you think, oh, like you're gonna go ride how long, it doesn't seem like it will be very fun. But like you say, man, once you sort of get that sort of rider's high, or once you can sort of tap into that meditative state, because of sort of the repetition. Because like here, I live right next to a greenway, and it's not that long, but I can go back and forth on it. And so I can get some pretty good mileage. But yeah, like if you can, especially in California, dude, if you can get like out on the roads and stuff, and we used to go ride because I was up in the Bay, and I was in Santa Cruz after that, and you go ride around, the redwoods and shit, and it's just like, yeah, it's another dimension for sure.
And plus, the thing is, you can see while riding a bike around in LA. You can't necessarily see. You can't get into the intricacies of the back roads and being next to the ocean and watching the sun rise. Like it's next level dope. Like I'm trying to tell people, other homies that I have who moved from Ohio to LA, I'm trying to recruit them to ride bikes, and they see the mileage that I pull up. Like, man, ain't no way in hell I'm riding a bike for 30, 40, 50 miles. Ain't no way. But when you're on it, like you said, it's not even that much. You end up just keep going, and you end up just doing it. Like, oh shit, you've been out here for 2.5 hours. It's great.
I don't know what I was thinking about during those long ruck marches. 15-mile rucks, dude. I don't know what I was thinking about. I got short strides, so I had to run too much to catch up.
Yeah, no, I was out there ice skating on them walks. Right? I was going. My mind was everywhere else. I was listening to music in the head. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna write to my girl when I get back to the bunk. Like my mind was totally somewhere else. And we do it. It's 4 a.m. Cold as shit because it's Kentucky, Fort Knox. You see the frost on the rucksack of the soldier who's in front of you. Like it was crazy conditions, but we just out there going, hey, let's get it.
I mean, I still had a fast ruck time, but it was not as easy with short strides. I still rucked 15 in 2 hours, I believe, 2:05. But I had to run the majority of it, bro. Like I didn't have long ass steps,
That
and
sucks.
probably why I got back issues and knee problems now, bro. You should not be running with 80, 90 pounds on your back. You should not run. You should be walking.
Compound's putting like 3 in for every one, Drake. But
That's a fact, dude. Shauna was a crazy rucker, bro. There's nothing funnier than her passing dudes. Like she would pass dudes on the ruck, and they would look over and they'd start running to try to catch up, and like she just has a stride, and she never had to run, dude. She's a beast.
No, that's crazy. I had this dude. I forgot his name. He was super tiny though, maybe like 5'3". Homie was out there looking like Mario when he jumped on Mario 2, his legs kicking like the whole time. And then he got to the point where he would be so exhausted that he would just be dragging his ruck. Like it's shit that you should not be doing in the military. He didn't give a fuck about it at all. I'm dragging his weapon. I'm dragging his ruck. I just got to beat it. I got to make it to the end. I'm like, yo, they about to kick you out of this joint, right? Because you are out here all ate up. But his legs were so small. That's all he had to do. He had to just keep pushing it so he can get it. It was crazy.
I felt bad for the little guys, dude. The ruck was like bouncing off the back of their kneecaps and shit. Like giant ass ruck on them, dude. I'm serious. That's what it looked like. They didn't know how to strap it up properly. So
Yeah.
hanging down like a back, like the kids in school, their backpacks are just hanging down to their knees.
Yep.
Bro, like pick your rucksack up.
It's crazy, man. Bouncing off him the whole time. Yeah, that sucked. Memories.
All right, guys, I got to get packing for tonight. I'm gonna not pick up any new hobbies. I'm gonna just live vicariously through all of your hobbies. I gotta fly in the morning, and I'm gonna spend a little time with Shaw before I leave for 10 days. It's her night off as well. It's like perfect timing. But go spend some time with your family. I appreciate all your stories. I laughed more in this hour 45 on these stories than I have in a long time. I was dying over here. Appreciate y'all coming through. And tomorrow I'm gonna talk to Dre Millie. I'm gonna be on a flight, so we're gonna see. We're gonna run bad take, but we're gonna figure out how to make it work while I'm on the plane. But
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Tomorrow we're gonna have to talk. Yeah. Yep. All right, cool.
All right, bro. You got anything for us?
No, not yet. L, when we get to that point of financial gain and I can start living life doing those things that you've done, we're gonna have to link up and you're gonna have to show me the ropes and the scopes so we can do it together.
I'm there. And, you know, we need to go mountain biking in Arizona. That is my favorite place to mountain bike.
Arizona's got some hiking too. All right, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Good night.
Peace.
Good night.
Later.